Hello and welcome, everybody. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, folks. Wherever you're joining us from, welcome back. It's Wednesday, time for Light 'em Up. Thanks for joining us wherever you are in the world. People joining us from all over, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Europe, Africa, and we have Aaron with us, live from Costa Rica, all the way halfway across the world. What a pleasure to have Aaron Ortiz Martinez with me here today to talk about IGM Cigars, Tobacco in Costa Rica, cigar manufacturing in Costa Rica. We'll get to that in a second. Before we kick things off, a very warm welcome to everybody joining us here at the lounge, of course, our friends, fellows, and regulars. To everybody who's joining us on the YouTube live stream, welcome to you guys as well. If you have any questions, please make yourselves heard in the chat box, and I'll very happily forward your thoughts, your comments, your questions to Aaron live here at the lounge. So without further ado, Aaron, welcome to Light 'em Up, and thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure for me to be here. Thanks to you, we finally meet these circumstances, as we have met before at the Inter Tobacco in Germany a couple of times, but finally we're here.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, there's plenty to talk about. We want to take a little bit of a deep dive into the Costa Rican tobacco landscape. We want to hear about your growing operations. We want to learn more about the cigar manufacturing tradition in your family and in your company, of course. Costa Rica is, I feel, one of the sort of unsung heroes of the premium cigar industry at the moment, because there's exceptional cigars and great tobacco coming out of your country. But, we, out of sheer nature and numbers, I guess, we focus mostly on the Dominican Republic, Nicaragua, Honduras, Cuba, of course, over here in Europe and in the Eastern Hemisphere. What makes Costa Rica so special, in your humble opinion, when it comes to growing tobacco and the manufacturing of cigars?
I would say it's, like everybody says, it's the soil, because it's a volcanic soil, but mostly it's because it's a mountain tobacco. I mean, we are harvesting on the mountains. We are not harvesting sea level or flat plantations. So that adds certain values. So it is reflected in the taste of the tobacco. So we have the farm, which is at 2,000, it's over 2,300 feet above the mean sea level. So we are up there at the mountains, getting all these special volcanic soil, and that's what makes it different. I mean, all the climate also, we can harvest on different sides of the mountain, but that's something unique. I mean, and you get to feel it, you get to taste it in the cigars.
So tell us a little bit about IGM and about how you actually came into the industry, how your family started in this business, and about the tradition of IGM, please. I'm curious to learn, when did you first get involved with tobacco and cigars? Did you ever think that you would follow in those footsteps and follow that path into the rabbit hole? Or how was the humble beginnings for you?
Well, my father is the CEO of the company. He's the big boss, like we like to call him. So him and my mom came from Cuba here to Costa Rica in 1997 or 98. And they were doing other stuff, but in 2001, they decided to come into the tobacco industry. We didn't have we were not like a second or third or fourth generation. Normally, like you hear, oh, I'm a fourth generation of tobacco in a tobacco family. They were doing other stuff. Of course, my father, where he was born or raised, the family has a harvest of tobacco, but he wasn't related to that field. But when he came here, he decided to get in. So he started learning, and he was like, okay, I don't know about this, but I'm gonna make sure I go and talk and learn from the best ones in the company, in the industry, sorry, like AJ Fernandez, Nestor Plasencias, and many other guys that have helped us a lot. We really appreciate it. So in 2001, the company was born. It was born like any other company, like 2 or 3 couples of cigar rollers. So then we started growing and growing. We started doing business with people from Europe, mostly Europe and Asia. And then we were just doing this. I mean, they were just doing that. And like 13 years ago, because I moved here like 15 years ago. So 13 years ago, when I was finishing my studies in engineering, nothing related to cigars, I decided to come into the company, and that's when I started. The same happened to my sister, because we have a family company, so the CEO is our father. Then it comes the three brothers. I mean, my brother is in charge of the administrative part. My sister is in charge of the farm now, and I'm in charge of the factory and sales, and that's how we do it. So we keep it all in family. So we trust each other, and it goes really great. We are always pushing it, not because of our passion for the cigars, but also because we are helping to push the family further. So that's how it started. I didn't have anything to do with tobacco before. Not at all.
You know, every so often here on the show, we talk about the true family-owned businesses being the lifeblood of this industry, right? So, I think that the success and of course the sustainability of the industry truly relies on the family-owned companies where people like yourself, your father, your siblings, you invest your heart and soul into perpetuating these values, growing the very best tobacco that you can, manufacturing the very best cigars that you can possibly put in other people's hands. Um, I want to take, as I said, a deep dive into Costa Rica in just a second, but how do you feel that the industry in Costa Rica has evolved over the years? When it comes to tobacco and cigar regulation, Costa Rica is a challenging place that we have to be clear on and frank about. And also, in terms of labor costs, Costa Rica is very expensive if you compare it to Nicaragua, for example, when it comes to just the labor and the workforce that you need to have in the fields and in the factory. Um, Looking back over the last couple of years, though, with certain brands making a name for themselves and putting Costa Rican cigars back on the map, how do you feel that the industry and the scene in Costa Rica has evolved?
Okay, like I would say like maybe like 15 or 20 years ago, there were tobacco plantations here. One of the families that were harvesting was the Placenses family. Then they decided to move it to Honduras. But there was always a little culture about the tobacco, but it was really poor. It was really poor. Nobody knew about it, or there were very few people involved in that. But it is growing slowly, but it is growing every day. And now more people ask about Costa Rican cigars. Also, the cigar community, there were very few people interested in this. Every day or like every week, there are more and more people that wanna try a cigar. They wanna get involved into this, and it is growing. It's growing slow, but it is growing great because people try it and they get super involved in this, and they try other cigars, but they never leave. I mean, once they start smoking, they smoke the whole time. And the good thing about this is that we can we are a bigger group every day, but the bad part is with the regulations, because before you could smoke in certain areas. Now they pass a certain law. I don't know. I'm not sure about the law itself, but basically you can even smoke at the parking lots. I mean, if you want to smoke, you basically have to smoke inside your car if you're in a public place, or you do it at your home, but you just can't go to any place to smoke. So there were like a few cigar launches or cigar places that now this year, the health minister people came and they say, hey, you cannot have people smoking here anymore. So this is over. You can sell cigars, but nobody can be smoking at any public place anymore. Even if you think it's a private place and you close the door, no. I mean, nobody, I mean, basically we just can't be feeling the smell of cigars anymore. So they passed this new law. I don't know what's the political connection there, but it's more complicated by that part. But the good thing is that, however, there are that many restrictions, we are getting a group that is growing every day. So that's the good thing. But anyways, we are in Costa Rica, and normally, like you say, you hear about Honduras, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Cuba, maybe Brazil. But when you say Central America, you focus on those countries and you forget about Salvador, Guatemala, Panama. Panama was a huge surprise for me because last year they won at Cigar Journal the cigar launch of the year, and we were like, oh wow, it's in Panama. Nobody believed. And it's great because you see these small countries in terms of the cigar industry that are growing also. And some of them are going one step further and they are starting to have plantations themselves. Like in our case, because we used to get tobacco from different places and we say, hey, I think it is time to do our own thing, to start getting to start controlling from the seed to the finished cigar. That's what we did. And yeah, the good thing is that I hope this never ends, because also it's not only our passion, but we also live from this. So, you know,
Absolutely.
it keeps going.
And you mentioned the challenging aspects regarding the regulatory framework. That aside, and focusing on the positive aspects, when it comes to the manufacturing, when it comes to the growing of the tobacco, there's quite a bit of history and tradition to operations in Costa Rica as well, right? I've had the pleasure of talking about his history in Costa Rica with Philip Wynn, who used to be there a couple of moons ago. Now you're proudly carrying the flag for Costa Rican tobacco being grown there. There's not that much grown in Costa Rica, though. Talk a little bit about the environment that you're growing tobacco in, the specific microclimatic conditions. You mentioned the volcanic soil, of course, which plays an integral part. But talk a little bit about the landscape, please, how the tobacco is scattered around and what your growing operations look like.
That's the thing. That's what puts the price high in terms of the Costa Rican cigars. Most of the things in this country are being imported. We get a lot of fruits and vegetables, but in terms of the agronomist area, we have to import most of the products, and it's even harder to get ecological, 100% ecological pure products. That increases the price even more. So let's say, for example, if you make a cigar in Nicaragua and you put all the expenses, your production cost, let's say, is going to be $1. Okay, for us to make the same cigar, it's going to cost us $2.25, $2.50, the same cigar. People say, oh, I get cheaper cigars and they are great from Nicaragua. I say, yeah, that's great. But you just can't make the same cigar here in Costa Rica for that price. You just can't do it because we got all the social loads. You got to pay a lot of social, the insurance. You got to pay higher salaries. We got to pay huge taxes. We have to import most of the things, even the boxes. We don't even produce boxes here. We have to buy the boxes from Nicaragua, import them over here, pay all the taxes, all the stuff to finally get some boxes here. The cellophanes, we have to import most of the things, we have to import them from Nicaragua. And it's not like you just load up a truck, cross the border and get it on the other side. No. You got to place the prices over there, get it to the border, wait for 2 or 3 days until they let you pass, get all the paperwork in order, pay high taxes on whatever you want to get, and then pay the truck driver the Costa Rican price, not even the Nicaraguan price, the Costa Rican price. So all of that increases the prices, and that's why cigars are so expensive. But they are unique because you are used to the regular countries, but then you try something new, like the Costa Rican cigars, and you say, "Oh, I like it," and that becomes more interesting. In our case, we try to go 100% pure. My sister has all the details about that because she goes and say, "Okay, what are we gonna use for fertilizer?" And then she goes, she checks it on a full list and says, "Which one is 100% pure?" So we don't want anything that is going to harm the tobacco, because whatever you put on the fields, whatever you put on the leaves, it's going to be inside the cigar. You're going to be smoking that. It's going to be provoking a damage to the final consumer. So it's really hard for us to get that, but we, after many studies, we finally got the right products, and that's what we are using. What's the thing with the mountain harvesting? We can use heavy machinery. Let's say we can use maybe a tractor, but just to build the roads, because we need roads to get to the different areas of the plantation, because the plantation itself is 100 hectares. It's like 250 acres. So we gotta build the roads. And the good thing with the new farm is that we have a little rivers, so we get the water from that with fuel pumps for the harvest. But once we are on certain sides of the mountains, we have to do all by hand. You can use any machinery at all. It's all by hand. These people have to get into the fields at 5:30, 6 a.m. They are working already there, working hard for that. And they gotta load everything on their backs or with their bare hands and take it to the nearest spot, near road. And from there we use a little truck, which is small, just to load up the leaves or what we need to the main house. But the good thing about this, I mean, it's more complicated because it takes more time, it's more labor. But the good thing about this is that it is not the gases are not contaminating the tobacco, because we are doing 100%, let's say, handwork without using any machinery at all. We make sure the cigar is 100% pure. The only thing that can be acting over the tobacco is going to be Mother Nature, let's say, only the rain, or when we got a volcano's eruption. That ash. That's why also when it's harvesting time is basically right now is basically the non-raining season. Because when it starts raining here, it can be raining for a whole week and it won't stop. It doesn't matter if it's day or night, it's gonna be raining and raining. And all of us, we already know that too much rain is gonna be a huge problem for the tobacco. So basically, that's what we do. We try to keep it as more natural as possible. I mean, the more natural way we can do it.
How does growing at such an altitude and also at the inclination that you have, how does that affect irrigation, for example, the way that the nutrients are distributed in the soil, and how does that ultimately translate into the tobacco? A little add-on question to that, because we just did a great question over on YouTube on the live stream from Zaju. How do you think that, or could you even describe a certain taste profile or a certain unique characteristic that you find in Costa Rican tobacco based on the soil that you're growing on?
Let's say, okay, we get like many other families, get Cuban seeds or any other seeds, and we harvest it. I mean, we plant it on our fields, but everything changes because of the climate. We play with that on our hand because we decide, we say, are we gonna harvest Habano? We're gonna harvest Connecticut, but this Connecticut won't be the same yellow Connecticut you get in Ecuador, for example. It's gonna be a different color, different thickness, just because of the soil, because of the climate itself. Because it can be very hot, but it's not the same hot because of the altitude. So it's not gonna be, there is not gonna be that much humidity, only when it's raining season or it's closer to the rainy season. So it's gonna be also the sizes. The size of the leaves is not gonna be that big leaf that you get. It's gonna be, let's say, like a medium size, which is better for us for the plant, for the production, because we use these medium leaves better. And the good thing about the medium leaves is that they get more nutrients, they get more flavors. I mean, the bigger you get the leaves, I think normally we have less flavors, because they have to, let's say, distribute in the whole leaf, in a way to say it. So yeah, it's gonna change a lot. I mean, I can use the same seeds you plant in a certain area in Nicaragua, and then I put it over here, and the tobacco, even, I mean, it's the same seed, and it's gonna change completely. The taste is gonna be different. The thickness is gonna be different. Color is gonna be different. What we do is that we harvest on different places of the mountain because of the sun exposure also. So we play with that. We do certain, let's say, tests. So we go to different areas of our mountains. We plant it over there. We see what happens. Oh, this one developed right on this side of the mountain. Now this other size is better for that. So we are playing with that basically. But it will always be different. It will always have a different taste. And the good thing with our plantation is that it's actually the only active tobacco farm in the country. I mean, we used to harvest in another farm, which is like 20 minutes from there, the famous one in Santa Marta. So we were there for like 5 years. Then we finished contract. They didn't want to renovate. So we say it's time for us to start our thing. And we bought this land. We say, just let's go all the way in, because we have all the employees and we have all the people, all the friends, all the knowledge. So just put it on this new farm. But right now, this is the only one active. This is the only one where you, like, normally you just call somebody, hey, yeah, I want to see your farm. I want to see your harvest. We're gonna be the only ones answering the phone and saying, yeah, just come and we show you the harvest. The other ones are completely dry right now. There is no harvest or anything like that. So basically, we are the ones with the tobacco. We're the only Costa Rican tobacco at this moment.
What dimensions are we talking about, Aaron, in terms of the size of the plantations and the farms that you're stewarding?
The plantation, the farm is 100 hectares, but we are just harvesting normally like 4 hectares. Because we are still working like, okay, we're gonna plant 2 hectares of Habano on this place, 2 hectares of Connecticut on this other area of the mountain, and then once they are finished, we go to another area so the soil can recover from that. And we are going all the way around in the farm. But normally in harvesting time, we harvest around 20 hectares. We harvest around 20 hectares, but the full line is 100 hectares. That's around 250 acres, US.
And that includes tobacco, which is used as filler, but also wrapper crop.
We mostly harvest wrapper. We get some fillers, but we mostly get wrapper and of course the binders, because we like to blend with the best we can get from Nicaraguan, the best we can get from Dominican, the best we can get from Peru. Because the Peruvian, when you mix the Costa Rican with the Peruvian, it comes really nice because of that natural sweetness the Peruvian has. So we like to blend. We like to offer the people the opportunity of coming here, sitting down, and make your own blend. We are not the regular business that comes and say, oh, you want to make a cigar, I'm going to give you some samples, and this is what you can make, and you just can't get out of that. No. I give you some samples based on what you like or your preferences. Let's say, I like the Dominican tobacco, or I like the Nicaraguan tobacco. Okay, we prepare a blend based on that will give you those flavors. And then you try it and you say, I want it stronger, I want it lighter, and we start blending there. But everybody that comes here and want to make their own blend, they sit down and they are 100% involved in the process. at the end of the day, they are going to be the creators of their own blend, and they are going to be satisfied with their own creation, of course.
Absolutely. So when you mentioned that the majority of what you're growing is used as wrapper ultimately, how many different varietals are you growing in Costa Rica at the moment? And which are the ones that are probably more prominently featured or more important in terms of the overall proportions?
We have like 5 right now. We have 5 different types. Well, we normally like to go for the Maduro wrappers, like a very dark Habano, because that Maduro wrapper from here is very shiny and dark. It's a very oily wrapper. It has a really nice thickness, and because of the climate and the location is just unique. And I really like those Maduro wrappers because these are the ones that when you put on the cigar, if you drop the cigar by mistake, it won't crack. Because this is something that you have to deal with the Connecticut wrappers. They are very dedicated, but no, this one is really thick and it's really nice. And it lets you, even when it's thick, it lets you try what's inside the cigar. But some people think like because it's gonna be Maduro, it's gonna be really strong, and you won't be tasting the fillers the right way. No, this one allows you to try it 100%.
Of course, a lot of the magic also happens in the pre-industry, how you treat the tobacco, how you work it, from the curing barns through the fermentation, aging, all the way to the blending department. And are there any specifics that you can share with us in terms of the steps that you apply in the pre-industry process?
I mean, when we do, okay, the tobacco that we harvest and the tobaccos that we buy, both of them go on their pilon process. All of them go into pilon process. Because some tobaccos, they are supposed to be ready to use, but no, anyway, we just put it into the pilons, especially with the ones we harvest. And in the pilons, it can take 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. The tobacco will tell you when it is ready. Because if you pressure the process, it will come out at the end. In the flavor, it's gonna be super spicy, or it's gonna be very bitter, or things like that. But that's our main key, I think. When it comes from the tobacco house for the drying process, after the drying process in the tobacco house, we put it into the pilons and we leave it there. At least that the minimum, I would say, is around, normally, minimum, I would say has been 7-8 months. Because normally our production takes in pilon 1 year, 2 months, normally, nowadays. I think that the shortest time, it was like 7 to 8 months. Right now, we have a pilon which has been there for like 2 years already. But we know that once it's finished, because of all these, all these climate things and all this weather, the soil, all the stuff, plus the pilon process, it will come out great. And then comes the production itself, the rolling itself. Because we work in couples, like in Nicaragua, so we have a bonchero and we have the one put in the wrapper, but we do it all by hand. We don't use any rolling machines, because in our case, we focus 100% on quality over quantity. So at this moment, we have 10 to 12 couples, because it changes. And by time, like sometimes people get sick or not, or but these people make, let's say we are making around 3,500 to 4,000 cigars per day. But these cigars have to go strictly under quality control that is going to be being checked one by one. All cigars are going to be checked one by one. So that's the good thing about this, that we control from the seed to the finished process. And cigars are going to be made by hand, like the Cuban way, the Cuban Entubado way. Even our cigars have the triple cap, the famous Cuban triple cap, because at the end of the day, we are a Cuban family and we wanted to get that Cuban tradition into whatever we do. It doesn't matter if it's cigars, it doesn't matter if it's coffee, because we also have coffee, or if it's gonna be cacao. We all try to do it like, we try to get the best from both worlds, the best of the Nicaraguan way, because we work in couples, they work in couples, and the Cuban way, the way cigars are being rolled and treated all by hand.
You mentioned earlier, Aaron, that it's very difficult to find people who are willing to work at the factory. Do you also have a lot of people coming from Nicaragua, for example, who work in the Costa Rican factories? How do you train the rollers? Do you also rely on people coming there with experience who have worked at other factories, or are you adamant about the fact that you train them your own way and you teach them your IGM methods and how you want to build them up from the ground?
That part is really complicated because every day there are less people working on making cigars. I think all around the world in terms of making the bunch and putting the rubbers, especially making the bunch. In big factories, they use rolling machines. But to actually find people that make the cigars by hand, there are few factories. Let's say one of them is going to be my father's cigars. At my father's cigars, there are still couples of people making cigars by hand. So what we have here is that these 10 couples or 20 or 12 couples that we have here, they are all Nicaraguans. All of them are Nicaraguan. So what we do is that they have a certain experience in Nicaragua. They come over here. They say, okay, we need a guy to make the bunch or a guy or lady to pass the rubber. So they come with become an experience for making the cigars, and they gotta do a test. So they stay, let's say, we say, I'm gonna test it for a week or two to see how it goes. So I put you the cigars and you gotta make the cigars by hand, and if it passes the quality and if it is wrong, if it is made the right way, then you can stay. If not, we give the chance to another person. What's the thing is that we can give the chance to other people because we make sure we are the ones that pay the most here in the country. So let's say, for example, if at other places they pay $1 to make a cigar, we're gonna pay you 120. So we make sure we're gonna be the ones paying the most because we are going for the quality, not the quantity. That way everybody's happy, and in a way you have like some kind of line of people trying to get in here, because once they come here, they get you are the ones paying the most, they get the insurance and all the stuff. So these people come, they do the test. If they pass, okay, they stay. But anyways, we gotta train them to do it our way. I mean, they already had the experience, they passed the test, but they also need more experience by being at the factory. And that's basically how we choose the people working on that. The other people that work on packaging areas or working at the fields, they can be either Nicaraguan or Costa Rican. That depends on how they work, the attitude, and all that.
Do you train your bancheros to work end to bar, or
Yeah.
do you require them to work traditional end to bar method?
Yeah, I mean they come, they make a couple of cigars the first day. We see, okay, it goes okay, and then we take one of our boncheros and say, and now you explain him how we make them to bottle way, and what are your tips to do it. I mean, to get a certain amount of cigars so he gets a good payment. So that first week or 2 weeks of the testing time, they are gonna have guidance from another bonchero to show them how to make the end to bottle cigars. And once they are finished, I mean, after those 2 weeks, they are ready to make the cigars the way are being made at the factory. So basically, yeah, we are training them during the testing. It's a bit complex, but it works. It has worked for us for all these over 20 years.
Also, earlier you mentioned the number of couples that you have working for you, depending on the actual time, but somewhere between 10 and 12 couples, and the output of cigars that they roughly produce per day. It seems like the numbers aren't really high, so they're not forced to work at a certain speed and to roll X number of cigars per day, but rather focus on consistency, quality, and getting the process right. What are we looking at in terms of like yearly output? Roughly 1 million cigars, or what would you say that you actually land
I would say we can get up to 1 million, but normally it's when we are having like 15 couples. When we get 15 couples, I would say that's around our maximum capacity. And when we are having 15 couples, then we reach 1 million cigars per year. But that's the maximum I would say we get. And I would like to say we would like to keep it that way. Because, you got a curve between quantity and quality, and we don't want to cross that point. I mean, that's the maximum we can get, being sure that everything's going to be premium, high quality. So that would be our thought. I mean, if somebody else wants to do more cigars with us, they got to take the lane. That's basically. And they do it because they know, they have tried our products, so they say, yeah, I will. And everybody comes, they place an order, and they know it will take time. I mean, don't put any rush because, this takes time, and some cigars are more complicated than others to make. For example, your rollers, I was telling my friend Damon before, we know certain couples are great to make cigars over 60 ring gauge, others go in the middle, let's say from a 48 to ring 60, others are great on Lanceros, double Coronas, and rings below 48. So you gotta know which ones can make what cigars. You gotta also work with the molds. It takes some. It's a complex organization, but yeah, we do it that way. We know which one is better for each, because at the end of the day, one tabaquero is not gonna be the guy that makes you Lanceros is not gonna make the cigars the same quality or the same amount of cigar like a person that makes you a ring 70. It's a completely different cigar. And that's something people don't realize sometimes. They think that a good bonchero is gonna make you any cigars. Yeah, you can make any cigars, but not all the cigars are gonna have the same quality. It's gonna be specialized in certain sizes. For example, with the figurados, not everybody makes Salomons. Not everybody makes you a flying pig or that kind of cigars. Let's say a diadema. Diademas are really complex cigars to make, even to smoke. They are complex.
Very interesting point. Aaron, when we think about the production, you recently introduced your own brand of cigars, which you also showcased at the PCA trade show earlier this year. Before that, and I would still assume the majority of your production is private label work for customers of yours. Would you like, or could you share any of the brands that you've been working with over the years, and some of the proud cigars that you have introduced to the market? And how do you see that balance of a private label and your own production to pan out over the next couple of years?
Yeah, I was in the past, for example, in the US, my father had the partnership with the big Sierra Cigars. They went to the IPCPR, how it was called before, like in 2015. So they were working together back then. These two gentlemen, that didn't work. And then before that, we were only doing private labels. Mostly private labels for, people that buy the cigars with their band on or without any bands. Only cigars that go naked, just like that. This came in 2015, then it worked for like a year or two, then it stopped, and we kept it all, let's say, in slow motion, in a way to say it, with our own. So we were making private labels, for example, for Privada Cigar Club in Orlando. We work with the Espinosa Cigars also in Miami. We made cigars for Philip Wayne. Philip Wayne's production in Costa Rica was being made by us. So he had two factories, one in the Dominican Republic, and the other one here. So cigars that were coming from Costa Rica were being made by us. We work by the hand with Jeremy Casdagli. So all the Daughters of the Wind and other cigars are being made by us. He has a second factory here, who is the owner of Vida Casdagli. But we make the Daughters of the Wind, the Cypher, the DBs, and other cigars that are coming out that I can't mention. But yeah, we have been working with certain brands that I can openly share, others that I prefer not to share, or they just want to keep it secret. Brands, for example, there is a big one growing up now in Switzerland that is going to be great, unique, but they are still going up. They started like a few months ago. Everything is going great. I can mention the name, but soon, maybe like 6 months or 1 year, I'm going to be able to say, yeah, cigars are being produced over here.
In general, just do you feel that you want to focus a little more on your own brand, or would you say it's good the way it is? It's healthy, it's stable. You have treasured customers you've been working with for a while, making great cigars for them, and they're successful in the market. And you take a step back. You're sort of in the second row, and a lot of people enjoy being more behind the scenes, working with other people who then do the front work.
Well, I would say it's gonna be like a 50-50. Okay, so we're gonna be 50% dedicated to our own brand. We have new products coming out. We are registering other brands, so we're gonna have not different qualities, because they are going to be high quality cigars, but different cigar profiles depending on the taste. And that's why we started with the 537, because the 537 is like a medium cigar. Some people think it's a mild to medium, but it has a lot of Cuban taste inside of it. I mean, the blending with the Costa Rican, Nicaraguan materials, we go to a certain blend that gives you these flavors close to the Cuban ones. But it's a Costa Rican puro, it's a Costa Rican cigar. And everybody try it, everybody likes it, and they think this is different to what we have tried before. I like it, it's delicious, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep providing to our customers for their own brands. We want to do it also for our own brand also. So we are taking all the experiences from the past and the ones that we are going to be acquiring from these new or present customers. So we take the best from all of that, and we are going to put it in our cigars. Let's say, for example, this flame worked really good with that size. So we can change a few things, or change the size, change the shape, and we do something different then. So yeah, we're going to be 50-50. For example, we have the IGM cigars, the IGM itself, the brand. For example, this one is the IGM, but this is for cheaper, because this one we ship it out, but it's mostly for the local market. Because local people say, I want something affordable. So we say, okay, we're going to give you a certain price. So you try it, you get into this market. We got the 537s, and we got the Calavera. Normally, people know Las Calaveras by Crown Heads in the US. That's why we can have Calavera over there. But we have Calavera in Europe. And it used to be very famous at a certain year, but we kept it on standby because we are rebranding the Calavera. So the new one is coming out pretty soon. But the new Calavera is going to come out in limited editions, because we have certain tobaccos that we made that were a complete success. And those are the cigars that you say, oh, these have been aging for over 5-7 years there in the humidor. And if it was a great success back then, you try it now, it's going to be completely unique, but it's going to be limited. So the new Calaveras are going to come out with that, and we're going to see how it works with the European market, because we are doing pretty good with the Asian market, but because of the new regulations with the track and trace, we have all of that ready, but we gotta search for new distributors and all that. So we are gonna see how it goes.
In general, balancing growth is always a challenging matter, right? Both in terms of the raw materials and growing the tobacco, but also, of course, the capacities you have at the factory. Where do you feel that sweet spot lies for IGM in terms of growth trajectory and the size that you want to reach?
I think it's yeah, this is a thing. It depends a lot on the industry in terms of the raw materials itself. Because we base our production on the raw materials we can get. If we don't have access to the great Dominican raw material, then we just can buy it. So that limits the blends for us because we won't be able to, after a certain point, we won't be able to put it in our cigars. So we gotta see what comes out on the market. But in terms of size, like I'm telling you, the idea is to go to the top and stay at the top, but bringing out to the smokers limited good stuff, great stuff, things that they try and they say, I really love this. These are the kind of cigars that I tell everybody, just go out, try all the cigars you can, the likes you really like the most, put them in the humidor and keep buying and keep trying stuff. We want to be some of those cigars that you keep in the humidor. We don't want to go huge now because we focus once again on quality, not quantity. It's like in the cars industry. We don't want to be selling Toyotas or Hyundais. We want to be selling Bentleys or Rolls Royces. So we want to get to that point that everybody likes it. And they say, yeah, when I want to go for the ultimate experience, I go and buy a cigar from these guys or any other brand that is making the cigars.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Where do you feel is the bottleneck, or where is the biggest challenge when you think about growth and how you could possibly develop the company? Is it the raw material side? Is it labor? And we know everybody now has challenges to get skilled labor. There's a tremendous brain drain from a lot of the manufacturing countries. Of course, Cuba saw that. Nicaragua experienced that over the last couple of years. Where do you feel the challenges lie for the next couple of years in trying to grow the business?
I think the most complicated part is going to be marketing. It won't be exactly just the production because that's why we got the land. So because we have the land, we cover that part. The labor, there is always going to be labor. We are trying to keep that labor with us the most time possible. That's why we increases the salaries and all that. So they stay with us, they be loyal to us because at the end, this is a huge team. This is a huge team, and the idea is that we all became like a big family. So in that size, I don't think we're gonna have problems with that. The thing we're gonna be with taking the factory or taking the brands out to the market so people know. Because now you say IGM, people say, what day? Or you say, and for the small companies, it's really hard because with the new restriction, for example, for the US market or for the European market, only the big companies are going to remain. And for example, for the Europeans, only big companies are going to remain, or the ones with the greatest and biggest connections are going to remain. The small companies like us, it is getting harder and harder because if I go and I try to reach to a certain, let's say, a distributor in Italy, they will say, no, your brand is not famous, so I prefer to just keep it there. I just keep it in a standby and let you know in the future. But once you go and you invest and you do the right marketing, everybody gets to know you, and people say, yeah, I'm going to give it a chance. And that's what we need. That's all we need. We need a chance for people to try our cigars, to try our stuff. That's why I tell everybody, if you guys, anybody that comes here and say, for example, somebody says, oh yeah, I saw the Zoom with Reinhard and I want to visit the farm or I want to visit, everybody's welcome to come here. They just come here, we show you, we give you a tour, we show you all the stuff, and you try a cigar or a couple of cigars, and I give you a couple of cigars for you to take. And when people come and say, yeah, how much do I owe you? I say, no, you don't owe me anything. I mean, I really appreciate you for taking your time and coming here and giving us a chance to try. If you like it later, then we talk later and we see how we get you the cigars or who you buy from. But that's what we need. This chance to be put it out there. And the only way to get that is through marketing. And that's why marketing takes that much money. And we need to get like more connection. And that's basically what we need. We covered the production part, the quality part. I'm very, very, I'm 100% sure that's going to work the way we want to work. But we need to have the whole marketing and stuff, especially with our brand. And just like that. And it has helped. For example, with Casdagli, there are people calling, oh yeah, I know your quality because of the Casdagli cigars, and they want to do all private labels because of that and things like that. I think that's our main concern right now. And also the price. The price is price is a complicated thing because sometimes you give them a good price, but taxes are so high, depending on the country, that at the end of the day, it's going to end up the retail on 16, 18, 20, 40, 50, and there are markets for different things. For example, your cigars come to the market, your cigars come to the market and they go 40, 50 euros each. And there are people that are going to buy it because they know you are behind it and they love it. But for example, if I come out with a 537 now and I put $40, people are going to say, who are these? And these guys are crazy, first time, these prices. But then I do a cigar that I sell it to this new brand, and this new brand is selling the cigars in 100 euros each, and he's selling all of it. Everything he gets is sold out. Boxes are 1,000 euros each, and everything's going sold out. So, but the difference is his community, his marketing, and all he's doing to put the brand out there.
Speaking of putting out the word and the message, and this is just a very brief question before Macy can chime in. I see him getting all excited and ready for his question there. But Aaron, in regards to the tobacco, do you use your tobacco exclusively at your factory, or do you also supply other manufacturers with tobacco grown on your farms?
With the rubber, so we operate here and we operate also in Ecuador. We have a farm also in Ecuador. So we have taken our rubber. What we do is that we take the best from each farm and we keep it for the factory. We say, okay, we're going to make this many for now. This is what we need for now. And the rest, we are selling it now in Nicaragua. So we have we are also going to start small IGM Cigars in Nicaragua. So we're going to also start Nicaraguan production over there to get all those materials, because that's going to help us to be selling at a even more affordable price or lower prices, also great quality, but it's gonna give us access to all those materials that you only get when you are there. So that's why we are. That's one of the main reasons why we are opening there in Nicaragua. But we are also selling the raw material. So there are factories over there that want to buy Costa Rican rubber or binder or Ecuadorian binder or rubber. So they just give us a call, they go, they check the materials, and they can buy from there. We are already doing it. We started, I mean, the first batch of Costa Rican rubber is it got to Nicaragua like 2 days ago. So now it's ready to be.
Oh, lovely. So this is really fresh off the press. Very cool. Thanks for sharing that piece of information with us as well. Time for Macy. Here comes the lawyer.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo está, señor? Qué maravilloso. I mean, what a beautiful show. My background is I'm most interested in the agricultural and the pre-industry side of everything. So with your hands in that, that's the focus of a lot of my questions. And my dream, just as background, everyone can start. I own the trademark in the United States to Banco de la República. My dream's on all the Colombian money, which I collect. My wife's from Bogota. Anyway, my dream one day, we could talk about this, is to have a predominantly Colombian cigar. The issue is wrapper. Maybe, I don't know, Costa Rican wrapper would work with. Anyway, so I love the story of your family coming to a
It's
less.
interesting. So it's interesting because my wife is also Colombian, and I go to Bogota a lot. And we have been thinking on including Colombian raw material into our production. So maybe in the future we can do something with that.
Well, I own the trade, but you talk about too. I want to come, and I do all that. Maybe we should talk. I would like to come, maybe help you. I think be prepared. I might come, especially Costa Rica. It's easy to get my wife to want to go there, and I can take a side. There might be a Costa Rican beach trip for them, and a trip. I'll send you an email after this, but I don't want to.
I get you a driver, so they go to the beach and you come to the factory. Yeah,
and I'm happier that way. That to me, and actually, I just got back from El Eje Cafetero in Colombia, where I need to move to. And I was thinking, I went on these coffee tours and these cacao tours, and about how tobacco would make so much. So are you actually, I have so many questions. One is, are you actually growing cacao and coffee and tobacco on some of the same land and rotating?
Yes, my sister is in charge of that. She's crazy about cacao. She studied at the Gordon Blue. So she's a graduated chef from there. She loves all the cacao, the coffee, and all of that, even special fruits. So we have a lot of land. So we are using the land for that also, for cacao, coffee, cigars, all the stuff.
Well, and they're all fermented. People don't realize the coffee, the product, like they really are cousins of one another in terms of the process, the amount, the labor. It's just an amazing products that bring joy and happiness and stimulation. Wow, that's amazing. I'd love to see some photo. And behind you, is that your land in the background?
Yeah. I don't know if I can. Gotta see
beautiful.
Gotta see how I can share the screen. Just give me a second.
Now this is even better than the Euro Cup.
Share the screen. Because this is my sister's computer. Because she's normally here at the
La Granjera.
Here at the,
okay.
She's the cacao and coffee.
La maestra.
Yeah.
How come
we
can see her? Hello. She comes on this and says hello to us. I want to see the farmer. She does all the work.
She helps at the farm. So yeah, this is the thing, and it's crazy, because this is a family business. At the end of the day, we all want to push the family further, and we go all together further. But because we are brother and sister, we got on fights, and we go like, go far from here. But at the end of the day, we go like, just come over me. You're my sister. We gotta keep working on this together. So we gotta keep it in the family.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we want the same thing.
Yeah. Let me see if I can share it. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm gonna share this video.
Beautiful. Yeah, we can see it.
This is one that we made a couple of years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Aaron, if you want to, please feel free to describe over the video for some of the stuff what we're seeing, or if there are any particularities that you would like to highlight.
Is it
Is that
crazy?
shade? That looks like shade there.
Well, you guys are gonna have access to the videos on YouTube. We can share the link if you guys wanna see it. But this is an old video from the last farm. We don't have the newest one because we're still working on that, but I'm gonna show you some pictures now of the new land, which looks way better. I have my sister sharing on the chat.
Yeah, can you talk a little more about what you grow? You mentioned Connecticut. I guess on that you mean shade, like Connecticut shade.
Just like that one you see there, that one is Connecticut from Ecuador. The regular Habanos in Connecticut, some there in the Ecuador.
Do you grow anything else other than Connecticut shade and Habano? Do you grow any other?
Yeah, Habano, Palo de Oro, E47, which is like the San Andres, the dark San Andres special blend. I don't know if you can still see this. This is the part of the harvest right now. It's part of it. So you can see this is just the top of the mountain. These are the roads we had to build with the machinery, but it's no access inside these areas or the other areas with any machines at all. It has to be all made by hand. So these people, they just don't have to go to the gym. I mean, they already doing gym now. Let me see how. And then we have a lot of pictures that we can share. You can also see on the social media. The seeds house are not that big right now because we are harvesting like 4 hectares, 5 hectares each time, so we don't need that much. It's from 100,000 to 130,000 plants each time. Let me see if I have this one. This is the one you see on the back. Oops. Side of the mountain completely. All mountain tobacco, all mountain area. It's also surrounded by nature. The only thing we just try to keep like away from the fields are the citrus, like lemon and those things, because that affects the tobacco itself. But with the rest, we just keep it the most natural we can.
Could you talk about cultivating wrapper? I've been on many farm tours. I've been on the Perez, the ASP tour. Tres Oliva has been nice enough to take me on a tour, and let me say, Tres Oliva's one of the coolest people I've ever met.
The Olivas are just amazing. We still buy. Sometimes we buy some raw material from the Olivas, certain types of tobacco, because these guys are just amazing. But you know who's the biggest tobacco family in the industry? The Plasencias. The Plasencias have all this great knowledge for over 60 years now.
And you think that's true with wrapper and filler as well? You think Plasencia with the wrapper also?
Now we are getting fillers also, but at this moment we only have been getting rubbers and binders. But from now on, we are also going to have fillers. Yeah, but with the fillers, you have to be careful with the fillers, because if you blend too much of a filler with the same type of binder or rubber, the blend doesn't come out the right way. It doesn't taste good. That's the thing, because some people say, how can I tell people, if I make right now 100% if I make 100%, if I make 100% Costa Rican puro, then it's gonna be a problem. Because I put all the leaves from this small, let's say small area, and they won't taste the same. But if I make 100% Nicaraguan, it comes out good because you got Somoto, like 100 kilometers over there, then you have Jalapa over there, then you have Ometepe, and you have Esteli, but they are separated. They are very separated, and they get different soils, and they use different, sometimes different seeds also. But in our case, that's what we are trying to do on the different parts of the mountains for the fillers. So let's say where we are harvesting now, we try to get fillers from there, let's say Biso or Ligero or something, and then we go to the other side of the mountains and we harvest over there to see what comes out. We are still working on that part of the field in terms of the testing. We are still on testing time.
If I may, my final question, because and this, I think maybe you can explain it. And I'm saying I wish there was more disclosure in terms of not just zone of where the filler comes from. Well, all tobacco, everything, but especially filler, but also the varietal. Because a lot of times now you'll see those, filler, it's Condega, Esteli, Somoto, whatever. But it's rare that even if you get all of the zones, that they will say, and it's, Criollo, whatever, this seed from. I also think Criollo is used by different people to mean different seed and none of this stuff means the same thing to a lot of different, one person's Habano is even different sometimes than another person's Habano. Perez has his own that, only he, and they're all hybrids anyway. It's a Habano, but there's very few actual true, because it's all human classification, non-scientific. I call this a Habano, whatever. I noticed this, and you call this a strain, but that's not a real scientific. It's not a species. It's a human subjective category. Anyway, my question though is about the growing of wrapper leaf. This is something I've tried to have Perez and Oliva explain this, and I still can't wrap my head around. So my question is, when people and growers talk about, I'm growing wrapper here, they're talking about certain cultivation techniques, and the goal is to get wrapper. They may get binder, and if it's not binder, you may, I don't know, it's filler or become cigarettes. My question is, what specifically, other than growing under say?
You got seeds that are especially, let's say, genetically modified, or they are great, or they are just made for wrapper. So you get seeds for fillers and you get seeds for wrappers. Mm-hmm. And even the thing
I didn't know that. No one's ever told me that before. I've read every book. No one's ever told me
this
that.
This is for wrapper. This is for wrapper, and this is this variety, and it's supposed to give you a Habano. Or this one is supposed to give you a Connecticut. Of course, the process changes. We get the Connecticut. You see the tall plant, and you get to the flower. But when you are harvesting the Habano, at a certain point you gotta cut the flower. So the process changes, but the main key is the seed. There are seeds for fillers. There are seeds for wrappers, and sometimes you give the same seed, let's say to the Perez, and you give it to the Olivas, or you give it to the Plasencias, and each tobacco is gonna be tasting different. Same seeds, let's say it's gonna be harvested. All of them are gonna be harvested in Nicaragua, and all of them are gonna have different tobacco. Mm-hmm. So it's not only I got Jalapa filler from Nicaragua. Well, a Jalapa filler. No. This is a Jalapa filler from the Perez. This is a Jalapa filler from the Olivas. This is Jalapa filler from the Plasencias. And that's something that my good friend Damon here knows and has tried a lot. That it depends on the source itself. It also changes the flavors and all the stuff. But yeah, main key is this is a seed that you get for rubber, basically.
And that seed's been selected to have big leaves, pretty leaves, elastic leaves.
those seeds have been genetically modified, and there are seeds that are gonna give you how they call it, sons, or you can get that seeds back after the flower and harvest again, and there are seeds that only work once. So that depends on what variety you got.
And that's legal? You can replant seed? Monsanto and all that, they're not coming after you? Like in the United States, if you do that, you'll get sued. If you use a bunch
That's why
of
there are not that many tobacco harvests in the US. That's why all the stuff is being made outside of the US.
Thank you so much. This has been great. I don't want to hug. Thank you. Thank you. And muchas gracias a ella.
Yeah, it's my sister. Thanks.
La Escondida. Okay, she's here. Okay.
Oh, she's on the Instagram. She's on the
there she
Instagram on the
is.
top. She's the famous one. She's the one coming out on the social
She's
media.
hiding. Está escondiendo hoy, so no sé. Okay.
I'm here.
Muchas
I'm just a
gracias.
guest here. Sorry.
And say hello to your Colombian wife for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Macy, many thanks for the questions, and Aaron, many thanks for taking us on such a deep dive. Let's look ahead a little bit, and you already spoke about some plans when it comes to growing the company, developing the company. You want to keep things, of course, under control in terms of quality and consistency. Your expansion to Nicaragua. What do you see in the near future for Costa Rican tobacco and cigars in general? Do you feel that there is a little bit of a trend or more awareness amongst consumers primarily, but also amongst the industry peers themselves, as to other origins for both tobacco and cigars? Macy spoke about his dream with Banca de la República. We spoke about tobaccos coming from other countries like Panama, and that there's plenty of other origins where you think tobacco could be a thriving business, and it could be very interesting to blend with tobaccos from countries where we currently do not see tobacco from. Do you feel there's a future there, and there's going to be a trend towards more obscure origins of tobacco and cigars?
I think there is. I think there is going to be. This is going to be growing and growing even more. Not only in the tobacco industry, also in the cannabis industry, or for example, the people that the young people that are having these vapes. For example, some vapes are being. For example, here, vapes are being banned. So people say, I need a solution, but I don't want to inhale it. We go like, that's why we are making like an educational program here especially for Costa Rica. So people say, so they can change from the vapes to the cigars in a way. So we want to provide them like with small cigars, the little ones that look like cigarettes because of the size. So we gotta, of course, it's a matter of culture, but we want to spread the word also here and nationally. So they start changing from that, like, okay, just cigars are not to inhalate; they are to just keep there, do the whole process. So instead of trying to get those flavors from a vape, start doing it from a cigar. It's gonna be way more natural. It's gonna be less problematic for your health. I mean, that's what we also want to get to. But of course, there is a lot of market for that, because also, for example, with the wrappers, in certain countries, you are not allowed to buy rolling paper anymore. So you gotta buy small pieces of wrapper or binder or whatever you can get, but that are gonna be natural. So people are starting to buy that to make their own rolls or whatever they need. Some people just like, also there are the old guys are coming back to smoking pipes or to chew tobacco and things like that. It's going again. I mean, I don't know if it's because it's gonna be a trending thing, or it's because the culture is being spread out, or I don't know why, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna be going for a better way. And now more people of our age are more interested in the tobacco. They are not interested in the cigarettes anymore. They are interested in tobaccos, all the varieties: chew tobacco, pipe tobacco, to have a regular ones or small ring gauge cigars, all of that.
Damon had a question or a comment for us, and Damon put some thoughts into the chat box earlier, and he mentioned that you had a great collaboration for Charlotte Cigar Week. So Damon, please share some thoughts with us, and thanks for joining us today, man.
Yes, thank you very much. Hey, good brother, what's going on, Aaron? Hey,
Hi.
Susie, if you can hear me in the background, Susie. So, Aaron, let me just say this. I am very glad that Reinhard is having you here on the Light 'em Up Lounge. IGM deserves this spotlight. So to piggyback off of that, there are more cigar brands than there are factories. There are certain factories that do not get the notoriety that they rightfully deserve for creating these great tasting cigars that these brands enjoy the notoriety of, right? So what has been one of the biggest challenges for IGM to gain the notoriety in the cigar market that you rightfully deserve for creating such great tasting blends?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
You want me to just call you and tell you?
No, I mean,
No, I'm just messing with you. I was saying, what has been
What?
the challenge for IGM to gain the notoriety that
just
it deserves?
like you said, it's marketing. The money you are putting on marketing, the marketing campaigns, having a publication of magazine, you know, all the stuff. Basically, like you said before, marketing is the key at this point. We are not only gonna provide a great product. I mean, people are not gonna say, they are not gonna only go for like, oh, I saw this on a magazine or everybody's talking about it, so I wanna try it. Okay, now we already have the other part covered, like the quality, the flavors, all that. So once they get the product, they are gonna know how good it is, and it's not gonna be like, oh yeah, they are there because they pay for the advertising or whatever. So we have covered that, but basically it's the marketing, and what we are also gonna start doing now that we have done before, but it's like, and we have done it with the small single individuals, is to help other people or help associations, for example, through the cigars. So, for example, I have a friend that had like a small association about preventing suicides. So we made a suicide, an SOS, strength over suicide cigar. So these cigars were being sold in the US, and all that money was being designated to a certain association. The same thing we are doing with other friends, and we are going to start doing it also here nationally. For example, with the Red Cross, because the Red Cross are people that are putting all the love, all the dedication, and they are not getting paid. But anyways, they are saving lives, and it's just amazing. But we're having really big issues over here. So we are organizing now events. So all the cigars and all the money that comes out from that goes designated, for example, to the Red Cross and all that. That way we are trying to also spread the word, not only because we want to be known, but because we care about that. We care about people, we care about making a positive impact in the community. So yeah, this key is marketing, and key are events also, and the real key is the culture. Real key is the culture. So, because when people have the right culture, they know how cigars are supposed to be or how they are actually being done. They can try new stuff, and they can actually decide and say, these ones are great for me, these ones are great maybe for someone else. Because at the end of the day, the best cigar is the one you like the most. No matter the size, no matter the price, no matter the brand, none of that matters. It has to be the one you like the most. But like I said before, you need to give a chance to the other companies, in our case, marketing right now, because I think we need that marketing so others give us a chance to be in their list, to give some samples out. And that's what we also have been doing. Like giving samples and giving samples.
Visibilidad.
So people try it and see it, and just that's why when somebody comes to the factory, we say you don't have to pay anything, just take it with you, share with your friends, and let us know, because also you get feedbacks. It's not only to go and spread a lot of cigars, but also to get feedbacks to know what we are doing, if what we are doing is going right or not. And till the moment, all the feedbacks have been great. We love that, but we also wanna hear or know, you know, all feedbacks. Everything is good. You learn from mistakes and you learn from what you do right. You learn from everything.
So, to our esteemed host Reinhard and our guests here, and also to you, let me just take a moment of personal privilege and kind of let everybody know how you and I met. So I was on Insta, and this is why this kind of piggybacks of what you're saying about why marketing is so important. I'm on Instagram one day, like doom scrolling, going down the Instagram rabbit hole, and I can't remember the name of the page. It's one of those. It's like the page for the International Cigar, you know, industry convention. That happens, I think, over in Europe. Reinhard, what you know the name of it?
The tobacco one.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. That one.
The one in Dortmund, Into Tabac, yes.
Yeah, that's the one. So I was on the Instagram page. I'm scrolling through, and I see Kazdagli, and I see him standing taking a photo with your dad, who I didn't know was your dad. And now, so in the tag says IGM. I said, "Who the heck is IGM?" So I clicked on the Instagram link, went to your page, like, "Oh, they're in Costa Rica." So then I started looking up some information, like, "Well, who do they make cigars for?" Like, "Oh, they make cigars for these company, this company, this company." Like, but you hear about the cigar brands, but you don't hear about the factory. So I go connect with IGM on Instagram. I end up talking to Aaron. So he and I started talking. He sent me some samples. I'm like, oh, great. So that's how they end up becoming a sponsor, a VIP sponsor for Charlotte Cigar Week. And now they are going to be a featured brand for Charlotte Cigar Week 2025. And, you know, throughout this whole time, you know, Aaron and I, and matter of fact, I met Aaron and Susie at PCA this past year. And we had a great time. And Aaron and I have been building a great brotherhood and friendship ever since then. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Damon, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And it goes right back at what Aaron was saying earlier. Not particularly just how important marketing is, but truly that it's all about the culture and the community. You know, it's about spreading the love and sharing the positive energy, sharing your great work, your commitment, your dedication to a family business, the passion that you have for the tobacco and the cigars. And that's what ultimately makes the difference. And you know, I always hope and wish and pray that truth prevails and that the good things will eventually come to fruition. And it certainly seems that you and your family, you've built something that's not only working, but is thriving and is really getting recognition for the right reasons. And that's the quality of the product that you put out. So I wish you tremendous success for that and all the very best for the path ahead, Aaron. It's been a true and sincere pleasure to host you at the Light 'em Up Lounge, and thank you for everything that you shared with us. I hope we'll see each other in Dortmund at the Intertabak, and we'll share and enjoy a cigar there. But it was really a pleasure to have you at the show tonight. So thank you very, very much for joining us.
Thank you, and thank everybody for the attention. It has been a tremendous pleasure to be here. And yeah, we look forward to see you there at the Intertabac. Maybe have a little more time, because normally we get to meet in a flash. We were like, oh, you are leaving. Here's the contact card, and we see what happens. And it has been like the only time we have actually like sat down to talk, at least virtually. So I hope we have more time in the future. Thanks for all your time. Yes, at the end of the day, it is all about production, it's about marketing, and it's mostly about culture and having the best experience you can have. Is to have the best experience you can through the cigars. The cigars, they are not a product. They are a complete experience, and they connect people in ways that people just can't imagine. So many so many things and so many connections and business and relationships come out from a simple cigar talk or sitting there in a cigar lounge or sharing a cigar with a friend. That's what makes it unique.
I couldn't agree more with that, Aaron. Very much appreciated. All the very best to you and your family. Thanks again for joining us today. And to everybody out there here at the lounge, for everybody joining us on YouTube Live, thanks for your precious time. Thanks for your patience, for your commitment, and for your loyalty always. We'll see you next week. Same time, same station, right here at the Light 'em Up Lounge. Until then, you be safe.
Thanks,
Well,
Aaron. Great show. Thanks, Reinhard.
Light 'em up. Goodbye, everybody.
Two great shows back to back.